know that there's a lot of us who have that feeling, that little nagging inside of, is this it? Is this what life is meant to be? Is this how it's supposed to go? And I'm here to tell you that it isn't. Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Unapologetically Yours podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Logan, and I am so happy to have you here today on episode 1 of season 2 of our podcast. I am just so excited to be back in the studio and to kick off this journey that is going to be full of amazing guests, more reflection, and lots of tools for anyone following along. So if you're new to Unapologetically Yours, this is a podcast where we go deep on everything from spirituality to relationships and connection to business and belief systems, because in a world when we've been taught to play by the rules, it's up to us to live a little bit more unapologetically. Ultimately, this is what this is all about. We, the collective, we absorb a lot from the world around us, from how we should do things and things we should believe. And taking a step back and examining all of those things is so important to making sure that you're leading a life that is fully aligned with what you bring to the world. And I believe very, very deeply that each and every one of us is here for a reason and has something unique and beautiful and interesting and impactful to contribute. But it's up to us to take that agency to tune in to the world around us and take that ownership so that you can get on the path to do all of the amazing things that you are here to do, whether that is being an incredible mother to your child, or whether that is starting a business that can help people in their daily lives, and the list goes on and on and on. But we do have a responsibility to stop and ask ourselves as we go through this machine of life to make sure that we are on a path that is truly ours, not the path that someone else designed for us, not the path that other people have set out to create on our behalf. So that is what this podcast is all about. And today I am excited because it's January. It's January 2025. And what a perfect time of year for reflection. Not only are we in the season of winter, which by design is meant for rest, reflection, deep thought, introspection, but it's also a brand new year. And that means that while we don't get to fully say goodbye to all of our experiences, I know we're going to carry with us memories and experiences and lessons into the new year. It is a really good time to just examine all of the patterns and behaviors and accomplishments that you've had so that you can choose what you carry with you and choose what you leave behind, which is just such a vital and important tool. So for those of you who don't know me, I am Ashley Logan. I am a serial entrepreneur. I own a marketing agency that is in its 12th year of business called Yakety Yak. We are a content marketing agency that helps purpose-driven brands and businesses to make an impact in the world by reaching their target audiences through websites, video production, podcast creation, custom messaging, branding, content creation. But in addition to that, I am a mother of 3 amazing kids. They are beautiful, smart, curious, introspective, and they are 4, 6, and 8, and soon will be 5, 7, and 9. Where does the time go? And so I built my business while building a family, and that came with a huge set of challenges. And for me, I found myself just slipping off course. I was following some of the rules that I thought I should follow about how to be a good mom and all the things that I need to buy and what behaviors I need to do and how to be a good business owner and how fast to grow my company and how fast I should scale and who I should hire and what everything should look like. And I woke up one day and I didn't know who the fuck I was. And I was just deeply unhappy in multiple areas of my life and had realized that I had abandoned so many of the things that made me who I am. My creativity, my connection to nature, my ability to create. And that happened through a series of thousands of micro compromises each and every day. And they weren't big decisions that shifted me off course, but they were little ones. And gradually I knew that I needed to, if I was going to build the business that was a reflection of who I truly am, be the mother that reflected the values that I hold, to live a life that was going to allow me to accomplish all the things that I've been brought to this earth to create, that I needed to make some changes and take agency and spend some time healing and reacquainting myself with me, with this cute, deeply flawed ADHD artist, woman, mother, dog lover of a person, so that I could fall back in love with all facets of me. And because if I don't love myself, then who is going to? So that process was a journey, and it set my life on fire in a million different ways. It set my business on fire, my motherhood on fire, my marriage on fire, my life. Not too many things look the same as they did when I started down this path more than 3 years ago. So what I set out to do with Unapologetically Yours is, because I am a person who has lived a lot in the 42 years that I've been on this planet, I want to share a little bit of the tools that have helped me to find that joy, to find that passion, and to start living a life of more abundance and spiritual connection and health and wellness and bliss. Because we all deserve that, and we all need help getting to that place. Because let's be honest, the world is not set up for us to thrive in that way. The world functions best when we all do exactly what we're supposed to do and work the jobs and go to work and come back and make the money and be the parents and do the things and sign up for the sports and keep going. Well, I know that there's a lot of us who have that feeling, that little nagging inside of, is this it? Is this what life is meant to be? Is this how it's supposed to go? And I'm here to tell you that it isn't. That life is so much more beautiful than you ever could have imagined. And there is so much more opportunity for connection than you ever could have imagined. But to get there takes strength and courage and introspection, and taking a moment to grab life and say, hey, I appreciate and respect that this is the path that many people are going to go down, but this path is not for me. And then choosing differently, or choosing with the knowledge of and the intention around the life you want to create, rather than just going through the motions. So with all of that in mind, I am excited for what 2025 has in store for us, and what season 2 has in store for us on this cute little podcast that I'm so happy that I started in 2024. So one of the things I want to talk about is how important it is for people to look back on their lives and reflect. And so here we are, we're looking back on 2024 because 2025 is here, but we've got to honor our endings. And this is one of my favorite sayings. And actually, what's kind of cool is last year, I set an intention to start hosting events and workshops, helping people access their passion, power, creativity, and to connect with their sense of selves in all of the ways that I just shared. And some of the tools that have been most helpful for me on my journey include breathwork, sound healing, creative writing, and access to nature, among many other things. And so I made a commitment to myself as someone who is a trained leader, and a leader not just of my own company, but someone who loves to facilitate events and workshops, that I was going to start creating events to help people access their passion, power, and creativity. And I said, I'm making the commitment to do one per month for all of 2024. And I can say that I think I got really close to that. Some events I did 2, and then some months I did 2, and then others I didn't do any. And there's a lot of reasons why, but I am so happy that that was one of the things that I did in 2024 to lay the foundation for so much more of that in 2025. Launching a coaching practice, launching more events for female entrepreneurs, launching more workshops and retreats, and all of those things. So I want to encourage anyone who's got an idea, a seed that they need to plant, to just go ahead and plant it. And even if other people think you're nuts, even if people don't understand exactly what you're doing, when you start, though it might be wildly imperfect, though you might have better experiences or you might have beginner's luck and be able to carry that luck forward, start. Do the thing, because a year later, you'll look back and be like, hell yes, I did it. But it was interesting because the first event that I did last year was I partnered with my friend and colleague, Lola Wright. And Lola is an incredible spiritual guide, speaker, coach, entrepreneur. And we hosted an event called Honoring Your Endings. And this was based a lot on the workbook that Rebecca Campbell, who's another one of my spiritual leaders, she's an author, a guide. She's incredible. I'm going to leave her information in the show notes for you guys. She publishes a workbook every year that is called Honoring Your Endings. And it has meditation and other tools for looking back on the year so that you can choose with intention, with authority, what is coming with you into the next year and what you want to leave behind. So we hosted this event called Honoring Your Endings, where we reflected back on 2024. And then Lola led us through a burning bowl ceremony where we could share our intentions and actually burn them in a fire and write letters to our future selves that she sent out throughout 2024. And it was amazing and beautiful. And I'm going to talk more about this because I encourage all of you listening to do some sort of practice like this to reflect on the year prior, reflect on 2024, and then look into 2025. So I'm going to kind of walk you through some of these things that I accomplished in 2024 that you can expect to see more of in 2025, and some things that I'm really proud of and I want to sort of stamp and honor. So in addition to committing to hosting these monthly events that were beautiful and sacred, and I learned so much and connected with so many amazing people, I also completed my level 3 breathwork facilitator training. And I found someone, and you can learn more about her from season 1 of the podcast, Ty Hubbard. She's been on the podcast and she is an incredible breathwork facilitator and teacher. And I did all 3, level 1, 2, and 3 trainings with her in 2024 so that I could be a conduit for helping people access the things that they're carrying unknowingly in their bodies through breathwork. And the fact that we have access to our breath all the time and that it can be such a tool for healing, it was something that I knew that I wanted to become a facilitator of, but it was a question of finding the right teacher. And there was like trainings that existed that were like, okay, go spend 3 weeks in Bali. Well, when you're a mom of 3 kids, that's not possible. So I did part of the coursework online and then flew out to Seattle, where I had the chance to meet 18 other incredible, beautiful souls who we completed the in-person training together. And that included breathing together and utilizing healing touch methodology. And as a Reiki practitioner, I was able to lean into those energetics and help to really connect the dots with how you can use healing touch to help someone enhance their experience through the breath. And that was such a gift to me. So if there's something that's on your mind that you're interested in learning more about, do it. What's waiting on the other side of that are people and connections that you maybe you certainly wouldn't have met otherwise. And those people might be there to open doors for you into your future life and your future self. And that in itself is just so beautiful. I also completed a coaching program. So got a certificate to work more closely with people through somatic practices so that I can actually serve as a coach. And this works really, really wonderful with some of the entrepreneurial training and things that I've had through my life in leadership practices as the CEO of my company. And then being able to translate that not just to working with people who are employed by me, but also working with people on a one-on-one basis, and which will help me be a better facilitator, a better moderator, and a better resource for people who feel maybe inspired or want to learn more about some of the work that I'm doing. Also, 2024 was just this like pivotal moment when it came to the divorce process. And oh my goodness, guys, divorce is so hard. And one of the things that I'm so intensely aware of when it comes to the divorce process is that it doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's not just happening to one couple. it happens to all the people who are connected to that couple, whether it's their family members, whether it's their friends, whether it's the community, the neighbors. And it is such an experience that just requires so much discipline and reflection. And it's really, really, really hard. This year was sort of the penultimate part of the process where we had to sell our family home, and each of us moved into new homes. And I talk about this in season 1, but I feel so lucky and so held by the universe by the way that this all panned out. And I prayed and prayed and prayed. My kid's dad and I ended up in homes that were just 2.5 blocks from each other. And that makes the world and the lives of our kids so much easier. So they have close proximity to both of their parents, and so that they can feel how deeply loved that they are. But the process of getting to that point was just like absolutely brutal, packing up the houses, dividing the things, having tough conversations, and just getting it done and trying to do it while being so tuned into the needs of the kids is something that is just so deeply, deeply challenging. So for anyone who's going through this process and this experience, just know that it does get better, but the courage and the discipline and the self-awareness that's necessary through the process is really just so hard. And the pain, it's hurtful and hard even under the best of circumstances. So I am with you and look forward to so many of those big decisions being behind me in 2025. Hey, guess what else I did? I launched a podcast. The Unapologetically Yours podcast was birthed in 2024, and it was because I just couldn't keep it in anymore. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, how to interview people. For all I know right now, because I am recording by myself without a producer, I could be fucking this whole thing up, and Laura could look at me and be like, dude, why'd you do this again? Because I felt the urge, Laura, and I had to record and I had to do it today. So, but that was kind of how the podcast was launched in itself. I just knew that it might be imperfect, but I knew that it was something that I had to do to tell my story, to use my voice, to reconnect with the part of me, an authentic part of me that had sort of been drowned out by should and nervousness and just trying to be all things to all people. I realized I really wanted to do this for myself, and I loved it. For those of you who don't know, I have a master's in journalism from Medill's School of Journalism at Northwestern, and storytelling was a huge part of the draw for making the career shift from commercial real estate to starting Yakety Yak. And journalism was the platform by which Yakety Yak was built. So this didn't come out of the blue in terms of having the seed planted in me a long time ago around storytelling and being in front of or on the camera. But I pulled the trigger on it, and a lot of people were like, what the fuck are you doing? You got enough on your plate, lady. But I did it, and I'm excited to do so much more of it in a better and more aligned way in 2025. So that was a big one. I was also able to lead a retreat that I didn't plan. I was brought in as a facilitator, and this was for a group of incredible entrepreneurs who came in from all over the Midwest to Chicago to talk about their businesses, to connect to themselves, and to be a facilitator for them was just like such an honor and something that I cannot wait to continue in 2025. And as I settle into I am a multi-passionate person. I own a creative marketing agency and am deeply passionate about helping people to connect with their own brand authority, if you will. And so I'm really excited to see how those seeds that were planted in 2024 will come to be in 2025. This part was kind of unbelievable, but one of the biggest tools that I have used to reconnect with my own self is through creative writing. And I started writing when I was just a little girl. I think I told you guys a story about like how I won this young authors contest in 1989 for a story I wrote called Crystal Met the Ogre. And it was all about this little girl who met this bad guy in the woods who wanted to hold her hostage so she couldn't do any of the things she wanted to do in the world. Patriarchy, I don't know. But in any event, I've always been a writer. I was a creative writing major, my undergrad at University of Tennessee, and then focused on long form creative writing in my master's program at Northwestern. And so this particular style of writing is called gateless. It's founded by Suzanne Kingsbury, who's going to be on the podcast this season. And gateless writing is basically where you get into a theta or meditative state and write freely for 15 or 30 minutes or an hour. And whatever kind of comes through you it's amazing, but it's a really deeply healing process. So I knew that when I'm leading retreats and working with other entrepreneurs, that gateless writing and being a facilitator there was just like a vital tool, because that access to creativity and what we create as humans is really a connection to God. And I think create connection to the divine. So I got that facilitator training, and I cannot wait to tell you guys more about what this unlocked for me and what it can do for you. So stay tuned for more on that. All the while was doing this while helping my kids transition into a new school, and they did a great job. But, just being aware of how much support that they need as they're transitioning, going back and forth from two houses, and while continuing to build and refine and support Yakety Yak, my multi-7-figure marketing agency that I have built from scratch starting in 2014. And Yakety Yak like I said, are a purpose-driven agency that works with companies, not just on a local level. We also work with individuals, but we also work with people on an international basis. So we work all over the world, but I knew and was really deeply aware of like how much is changing when it comes to content creation and marketing because of AI, and also noting that I'm changing and that I don't have the capacity to hold and run a 30-person agency at this time. So I have leaned into establishing new partnerships, all while reducing the business's debt and increasing its financial viability and establishing really great relationships and new clients. And so I'm really proud of all of the things that I was able to balance this year while staying connected to nature, while using gateless writing to complete a whole series of poems and pieces and writing that I use to apply for another writing program that I'll be participating in this next year. And I say all of this because, it feels fucking manic. And sometimes I don't know how to talk about it, like all the hats I wear and all the different things that I do. But the best thing that I can share is that I am a multi-passionate. I am a manifesting generator. I get lots of ideas and I tune into them, and I have lots of different hobbies, and they make up the unique fabric of who I am as a person. But I think that the reason why I have all of those tools is because I'm supposed to talk about them and teach about them and help plant seeds in other people so they can start to find inspiration and maybe say that they want to try some of the things, or they want to explore or figure out what is in their hearts that maybe they didn't have a pathway to explore otherwise. So with all of that said, I wanted to share a little bit about all of the things that were keeping me busy in 2024. And as a way to say that you can do a lot when you make space for what's right in your life and drop out the things that aren't right in your life and some of the patterns, hobbies, behaviors, all those things, it creates space for alignment and growth and positivity and joy and bliss. And I can say that I don't feel overwhelmed. I feel more balanced than I have felt in a long time. I feel the love from the people around me. I have met incredible people by following these passions that light me up, that understand who I am and the direction I'm trying to go, and who open doors for me. And it doesn't feel scary. It feels loving. It feels aligned, and it feels beautiful. And so that's my wish for you too. And so I'm going to share with you a link to the Honoring Your Endings workbook that I just couldn't recommend more. And what I encourage you to do even more is to find a friend who really knows you, who sees you, and go through this workbook together. Because I did this with my friend Jackie Hudson, who is a founder, entrepreneur, hustler. She's just this kindest hearted light worker, beautiful soul that I'm lucky to have in my life. And we sat down together and we completed this. And she's like, oh, I don't know. I don't think I've done this well this year. And I was like, wait, no, you've done these 3 things. Don't forget about them. And then she did the same thing to me and was a mirror, because we need people in our lives who see all of the things that we're doing, who understand the road that we're taking, and who want to celebrate that, and who can reflect that back to us and be like, no, dude, you fucking did a lot. Or no, hey, remember that time when like you overcame that challenge? So get a friend to go through this with you and take the time to reflect, because it's important. And that is how you tune in, and that's how you figure out what serves you, what you want to bring with you into the next year, and go from there. Okay, but then you also have to think about what you want to do in 2025. So I've got a couple of things that I really love. Jesse Itzler has his big ass calendar, and it is just like this giant poster of the 365 days in a year, which is like, oh shit, man, like there's 365 days in a year. Like, how do you want to spend them? And allows you to prioritize, like, okay, this is vacation time. This is time with my kids. These are retreats that I could go on. These are learning opportunities. And so you can really plan out and see, like, gosh, there are limited days, and there are also so many days. What do I want to do with them? So I love this tool for anyone planning. And I also think it's important to sit down and set some quarterly goals and think about, like, hey, what do I want to achieve? What's on my absolutely must-do list? And what are the things that maybe you're like, oh, I'd like to work them in if I could. And start thinking about your big life goals and your big life bucket list, and start to put those things down on paper so you can hold yourself accountable for achieving them. And when they don't feel aligned, let them go. But when they do feel aligned, make it a priority. Set those intentions, because it's amazing how when you are in alignment, the world works in your favor, God delivers, and the path will suddenly appear before you in ways that maybe you wouldn't have recognized before if you hadn't written those things down. So welcome to season 2, y'all. I'm so happy that you're here. We're going to cover a lot of ground. I appreciate you. I'm so grateful. Now, if you'll do me a favor, we relaunched all of last season. And so if you are ready, subscribed, please do it again. So whether that's on Spotify or Apple or wherever you take in, just resubscribe, because if you did it before, it's not going to translate now. Like it, give us a positive review, share a review, and then also get in touch, because I want to know what you want to hear from us this year. So you can send an email at podcast@unapologetically yours podcast. Reach out to me on my website at ashleydlogan.com. Follow me on Instagram, Ashley D. Logan, or at the Unapologetically Yours podcast. That was a lot. I'm going to make sure you got all of these links and access to it. I can't wait to see you. And for now, go out, make some mischief in the world, ask those hard questions, figure out what's aligned for you, and then I'll see you next time. And until then, I'm Ashley, and I'm unapologetically yours.